Hello everybody, this is Blender.Today live number 92. We are approaching the 100, and for that we actually move again. Yes, we moved again to a new place, but it's actually this one. It should be the one that we're gonna keep around and make it better. So it's a dedicated space for news, for tutorials, for the Blender Cloud, and for whatever happens. Maybe the podcast can one day come back or not. However, what is coming back is 2.82. There are rumors that maybe we need a 2.82a, maybe not. There's just a very small number of fixes that were done, but pretty much I think it's better to keep looking into 2.83. Although, being such a solid release, it's always nice to keep it around. But today, actually, we're going to talk more about 2.83. There has been so many optimizations from cycles. It's faster now. There is new nodes even. Even the UI got some improvements and things faster and stuff. No audio, please. Audio is fine here. Why did you make me freak out so much? Let's go to the comments. Remember, this is live from the Blender Animation Studio. So if you want to ask questions, you can do so at the blender.community on the Blender.Today community. So here, Blender 2 and beyond, Mommy Bay invite Momotron. So you can, already 22 questions. So hurry up and remember to upvote the comments that you want to, the questions that you want answered to at the end. So I just finished compiling Blender, and you know what? I'm gonna do it again because I like danger. So I'm gonna compile again while we're talking. And first, while this compiles, which shouldn't take that long, I'm gonna share some community news. So before development, the most important thing is the community. So community events next. March 21st, not too long from now, within 1 month, there will be the World Blender Meetup Day. It's, if you're in the world, which I hope you are, the day we get ISS people working on using Blender, that will be insane. All right, anyway, so for people here on Earth, there is a 24-hour event. So it's online. You can go from, you can visit it from anywhere, of course, and whatever is your time zone, you can always see something going on. It's been done for a few years already, so check it out. World Blender Meetup Day.org. It's on March 21st or 22nd, depends on where you are, of course. And that's the day. The day should be getting better in this side of the hemisphere. All right, what else? It's new. Conference.blender.org got this new amazing new style for the Los Angeles edition that is happening in a few months, in the 1st and 2nd of June. Remember, if you want to present, you want to give a presentation, there is just call for presentations, sign up using your Blender ID, submit a proposal, and should be it should be handled fine. The deadline is on the 21st of March, which, remember, that's another deadline for another Blender event, which is happening actually later. This is an event that I went last year. It was awesome to meet all these people here in London, the London Blender group. And it was just awesome. I was invited to talk there last year, and I might be going again this year. I'm not... I don't know if it's official, if I can share it or not. What I can share, though, is that Saturday, the 11th of July, 2020, is going to be a London Blender Day, and their call for participation is open. So if you want to if you're in the area and want to give a presentation, go to the submission form. You can already buy the tickets already. So it's awesome. All these events, official events, unofficial events, community events, it just makes things so awesome. So there was Blender Paris earlier this month, and it's just super nice. So what else is nice? Let's change topics completely to the Blender news. So for that, let's go to Dev Talk here. Dalai prepared this very nice blog post thread with all the updates we're going to talk about today, plus a few other ones that I didn't get to mention, because Google Summit of Code. Remember that project that for 15 years has been around and getting developers, developers, that are students to work together with developers from the Blender team, the mentors, to bring some features inside of Blender. Some of them were like smaller additions here and there, or fixes, and some of them were huge. Some of them even brought a whole new editor, like the motion tracker in Blender, but also the projects like the outliner from last year. That was also pretty nice. There was also some LAN PR last year. There was the new nodes. There is also one new node today that I want to talk about. I might have a guest even coming up soon, maybe around 10 minutes. Might have a guest. Yes, I'm sharing the news right now. All right, so what else? The Grease Pencil team wrote this very nice article about the refactor that they were working on for the last few months, like really long. I don't know if you've seen this, but it's just to blow your mind. This is Grease Pencil, completely full, 100% Grease Pencil. It's insane. So you could do some of this before, because before the refactor, there are a few improvements here that you see in the strokes that are that have to do with vertex color, which is a new feature that got added. But the refactor is mainly about the performance. So some scenes render like twice as fast, 100% faster, so twice as fast. Lighting support, new mask. You should check out this blog post. I also made a video about it in the Blender Developers YouTube channel. So where I'm just talking. That was last week. Next, let's see. Check out that video. I'm going to be making more videos more often, and I'm even thinking of making a summary of what I'm talking about now, but try to make it shorter for like the day after, maybe Tuesday. I could do a roundup. Let me know what you think. Please hear in the comments below. I'm going to check it out later. So, mini workshop. Yes, the last week. On Thursday and Friday, we had William Reinisch, the developer, artist, and designer of the Blender UI team. He was visiting here to talk about some serious topics. Asset manager, we'll talk about nodes, how the Everything Nodes project could extend the UI for nodes. In the current node system, basically everything is from left to right. That's pretty basic. It's like pretty straightforward, but the more you think of everything nodes, you need to consider, well, maybe nodes can go from vertical, top down can mean a thing, and the nodes don't need to be connected anymore in some cases. Like for animation nodes, you have like loops that are just run like around. But yeah, it's we had many presentations, many talks. Even face maps was one of the topics here, and I think we're gonna write a little roundup of what we talked about, basically. So, by the way, I've been sharing. I don't think they're gonna be available anymore, but on Blender.official on Instagram, I've been sharing some of the. It's no longer here because because stories on Instagram only last for one day. But I also share it on YouTube here. By the way, in this channel, do you know that YouTube has stories? And I don't know if you can see them on the desktop, but you can find them on the phone. And I've been posting like just a quick capture of those presentations. What else? So 2.82, this is what I was mentioning before. So yeah, Campbell, for example, suggests that there's two fixes that could make it into a 2.82a if it's necessary. There's been two other fixes that could make it in order to make 2.82 a bit more stable. How unstable has it been for you, for example? Like some of them is like a resource leak or a UDIM crashes, but remember, there won't be any new features. And making an A release or B release take time from developers because they have to port all the fixes back. And how unstable has been Blender 2.82 for you lately? Let's see. That is currently a what else? That was for 2.82. but for 2.83, which is the future, what we're going to talk about today, there is currently a regression in master that affects add-ons. That I didn't know. Crisp Pencil Refactor sent for reviews, and here I'm going to skip the spoiler alert and just go with my own list. I want to start, I always have a little, I want to start with the UI, a bit of order. So that was it for the Blender 2.82 news. Let's switch gears to the new interface. No, there's no new interface. There's a new setting though that is going to make all the themes, everybody, from now on, all the screenshots in Blender probably will look different, because this is a feature that people have been asking forever, and it's a preference in the theme for the 3D viewport. So in the background, you're going to see a new option, or an option that already existed that became something else. So what is this? What is this mystery? So 3D view, under the theme space subpanel, under the gradient colors subpanel, which has a weird name because you can just not have a gradient, so it's not a gradient color. Anyway, there is a option there used to be about linear gradient. This was how like the only option we had so far. Now there is a new called vignette, which basically makes a darker or brighter or whatever. It just mixes two colors from whatever crazy color you want to have in the viewport with a circular kind of blend. So you see it even sticks to the sides, so it's not so distracting, and it's nice. It makes it very immersive, whatever you're working on. And it even, I noticed, I've been using it for a few days, I noticed that it even makes the text on the sides highlight a bit better. So I don't know if I would make it full dark, full opaque, but maybe slightly, just so the grid like blends a little bit better, and the text on the sides, I think it makes it a bit more, it gives it more contrast while highlighting whatever is in the center of the screen. So maybe this is a keeper. Maybe this could be part of the default theme. What you think? Shall we make it the default theme with a tiny little bit of gradient? In the future, I think the tool itself should be renamed, because the gradient high, off, low, it doesn't make sense when you have a vignette, for example. And maybe we could have other kind of background types, like single color, linear gradient, vignette, or texture. Maybe you want a paper texture everywhere. Or also this could be, instead of a user preferences, could be maybe a background setting, so you can change it per viewport. That would also be pretty nice. All right, let's continue. The next thing, UI. Since we are in the UI top, UI/render here, render, render, how do you call it? Render topic, the edit mode. So edit mode plus X-ray used to be a bit of a, remember we had like some kind of grain in it. There was an issue with the dithering. Okay, here's my English. Dithering. That checkerboard pattern that it used to show when you had low values of X-ray, like the transparency was a bit too obvious. Now that has been solved. It's changed. So right now, this actually since a few hours, Clément Foucault committed this change that removes the X-ray dithering noise. We now have a better, smoother technique that uses correct alpha blending. So this is possible now that we render overlays in a separate buffer. So yeah, the Draw engine got a refactor recently, and thanks to that, these kind of features can be added. This is awesome. I remember a lot of people complaining about it was better to even not have any transparency at all because of the weird pattern that it would give. Now it's so smooth. Nice. Cool. Next feature, since we are talking about the UI, I know I'm leaving the clickbait for a bit later. This is an improvement that I wanted to give a shout out to Germano for looking into it. Like, who would look into the way Blender renders text in the like for the UI, for the interface? Only Germano. He looked at it, and apparently there is an improvement that could be done, and making things more like 1.6 times faster. So when printing the text in the screen in the UI. So those are the little things that I like to see. You know, performance improvements in the whole of Blender. I know the drawing of the buttons is not completely optimized, or the anti-aliasing has to draw like 8 times each button, and there are many of those little things that add to the overall performance, because this week actually have so many news regarding performance that is crazy. So right, they goodness, oh hello, who's coming? Hello. Here, please have a seat. Yes.
I think I'll stand.
There is. Oh shoot, you're super tall. Or I'm sure. I think that's not making things better. So yeah, just hello. How are you?
I'm good.
I think you need to talk like to the top side of that one.
Like that.
Yeah, and
just people can tell me.
sorry for getting short. Short. How do people the short? You know, on TV, how do they invite tall people? Do they have to cheat or?
Yeah, cheat with the camera perspective somehow.
Yep. So who I have here is Simon. He's been working on Blender Animation Studio on like Node stuff.
Yeah, since beginning of the year now.
Yeah, for already how many months? Since January?
Almost 2 months.
Wow, and he's already about to deliver some training that is going to blow people's minds.
Yeah, we'll see about that.
We'll see about that.
It's exciting.
Because I don't know if you I don't know if the microphone is, yeah, there. It's on. Some people louder. Okay, gonna make it a bit louder there.
Can you hear me? Mic on?
Yes.
It's not on?
It has some bit of delay. So the people that have been following Twitter mainly on last year, was it this November?
November.
November. So if you're familiar with the November concept, it was a trending topic in the Blender UI. Remember?
It was pretty huge at the time.
It was pretty huge, and it came out of nowhere, like in October.
It was on the Blender conference. People were just chatting about it. Luca Rude and Jonas Tuchel were the ones behind it. I think, yeah, there we are.
Yeah. So basically, it was like Inktober, where every day you do something. It was for nodes, and you've been killing it, really. And Sugamasta as well, and it's just so inspiring. So that was the limit to have. Oh, this is your...
Yeah, I made like a reel at the end.
Like your reel. Everything that you see here is just pure nodes.
Yes, a sphere with nodes.
A sphere with nodes, even that craziness.
Yeah, and that's actually linked into what we're going to talk about.
Yes, we're going to talk about the... again, the audio apparently. You need to
it's still
closer to you.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm going to eat the mic.
Or maybe, I think I just shout too much. And it's yes. No,
my voice is just too low.
Yeah, it's all the way to the top. So okay.
I'll try and keep it very close.
Or shout, like you're talking to someone that is
okay. I'll try.
Super far away. So
I'm not used to shouting like that.
You prepared a demo today.
Yes.
I was gonna show some of the new features on EEVEE, but is this available on EEVEE as well? The EEVEE on Cycles.
Yeah. I mean, it's for both engines, the node itself, but the demo itself is mostly for EEVEE, but it should work in both.
Awesome. So you said you have a file that is somewhere on the cloud.
Yes, it should be in the art gallery.
In the art gallery. Let's see if I can...
I hope it worked.
Oops. I don't want to log in. I have... It's in the library, right? So let's go, for example, feature open movies, libraries, art gallery. And then in the art gallery, we have the rock stars here. Oops, that is you. Color vortex. And it's not available for everyone, but we will make it available for everyone soon.
Mistake I made. I'm sorry. It'll be available.
No, it's okay. It's let's see. I thought I was logged in as Francesco here, but okay, I can log in as let's see if this is even remember. I can log in as Did you put it on shared? Maybe.
Yes, it's also unshared.
Okay,
You
so
can just access
people
it.
can download it from there, or people can can access our local server. So Simon Cloud, is this the one?
Don't hack into Blender to get the file though.
No. Is
Yes,
this
that's the one.
cool? Awesome. What?
There it is.
So what is this? This using a new node.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it basically would have been possible before as well with the mapping node, but we have a new vector rotate node, which makes it much easier to rotate vectors, which the mapping node could also do, but it was much more inconvenient to control actually how what actually happens there.
To rotate to rotate the axis, right?
Yeah,
there
exactly.
You go. Now you're in the chat. I was talking to no one.
Just a phantom.
Awesome. So, for example, here we see 2 levels of complexity.
Exactly.
So 3 levels.
The bottom one is the final result, and the first one is the simplest version of what the idea is behind the shader.
Yeah.
And yeah, it basically just works in a way where the rotation of the coordinates is dependent on the distance to the center, which creates this swirly effect. And yeah, it's actually animated. You just press the space bar. You have this nice animated version. The first one is not animated, and then it gets a little bit more complex. So if you want to see,
so this is the setup. What I see here of the first example. Okay.
So you just have the length of the coordinate vector, which is the distance to the center.
The distance to the center of the object.
Yeah, exactly. From the center on the of the coordinates, and that's basically plugged into the angle of rotation for the coordinates that are then used in a noise texture.
Ooh, and here I'm changing the center of the noise texture.
Effects.
Ooh, warpy.
Yeah, and the last one looks a little bit more complex, but that's mostly just to make everything work together.
The last one or this one? This one is the same, but it's animated and it has a bunch of settings.
It's animated. You can change the
speed, for example, here to make it go faster.
Yeah, exactly. Make it freak out. And change how much the whirl effect is happening.
Wow.
So you can play around with that if you want to.
So let's put a 1. There's almost no swirl. Like, okay, it's like the...
So, yeah, this is how much basically the rotation is stretched along the radius.
Crazy. Also. And this one, you want nuts, so I have to, like, rotate.
Yeah, exactly. It's a volume.
It's an actual volume.
And it's rotating about around the... central z-axis, but you can change that axis and shift it because that's what the new vector rotate node allows you. Before with the mapping node, you can could only rotate around the center, and now you can shift that center and set the axis, and then just a single value for the angle, which makes it much easier to handle.
Much easier to manipulate, right? We just change like in this case, you're changing to 1 z-axis.
Yeah, the length of the vector doesn't change anything, just the direction.
Ooh.
If you just put a 1 in x and a 0 in z, for example, then it rotates around the x-axis.
Ah, there you go. Now I'm seeing it from the side.
Which is much more convenient than having to deal with Euler angles in the mapping node.
Nice. So basically, this new node is in 2.83.
Yes.
It's a new thing. But the multiply add, for example, in this case is from 2.82.
I think it was 82, yes.
I think so, yeah. And the map range was from 2.81.
2.81.
Yeah. So you need the latest to open these files, which, by the way, now it should be, now I looked in, actually, Art Gallery, and we should see it under Simon, Color Vortex, and then I need to press a magic button to make it free to everyone, and bam, now everybody should be able to download this file. I'm going to share it on the chat so you can go and play with it. Remember, you need a build of Blender that it's from today or even from tomorrow. No,
new one.
Yeah, no, it's the same one everybody has. So super nice. And you made a video about explaining how it's
just very short, right?
And the Blender file.
What it does. And
awesome. That is amazing. So people go have fun with it. Yet after the show, now people are gonna get all distracted.
No, was too early.
And I mean, since we're here, by the way, you also worked on some work for the Coffee Run project, right? And you guys are publishing this every Monday.
Yeah, pretty much, exactly. After
Like
the weekly that we have on Friday, on Monday we share some of the stuff.
Put all the new stuff. For example, this Mosaic Windows, you did this.
Yeah, exactly. We are
Nice.
looking for something more easy to create these mosaic windows. We settled now on not using a procedural shader method because it is much more useful to make it manually because you have more control. But
Nice.
we still wanted to use these techniques somehow, so we shared the file on the cloud.
That would be super nice. That would be super nice. I think the most valuable part of the cloud is that we can share as you make it, and you share tests, and you should share whatever. So, all right. Next, do you want to hang out with the rest of the news that I have to share?
I mean, yeah, sure.
Sure, yeah.
If you have any questions.
It's very lonely here, actually. No one. So basically, do you watch Blender.Today?
I not that regularly.
Oh, I put you in a hard situation. Sorry.
Sorry.
You can say every day I am the spammer. You can, yeah, I am the troll. Yes. So I was about to share some of the news on the clickbait of this episode, which is EEVEE render passes. So this one actually maybe is really fun for you as well to see.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. This is a new feature basically that allows you to see from the viewport the different passes of EEVEE. So you can do, for example, emission. You can do shadows. In this case, maybe in this file is not going to be very clear. I guess you're using emission.
Yeah, no, it's just using a volume with some lighting.
Yeah, volume scattering. Yeah, so not even shadows.
Yeah.
But if you, for example, have the simplest file even, you already are going to see that in render mode, the thing appeared down here. Here, there you go. In render mode, you're going to see that we don't have any objects. Is that the default for this computer, I think? Let's start. I started with the default settings.
Yeah, on this computer it always changes because the recordings have to be done and everybody has different settings.
Yeah, I usually open Blender, like the way I open Blender is with a shortcut that appends the default settings. So probably I'm overriding settings of everybody.
Yeah.
So yeah, in render mode, for example, where you have you have shadows, you can now filter them as their own pass. For example, you can see only the shadows, and then it's very handy because you can see the actual artifacts or like how the shadows are interacting with each other. And if you see the thread, the blog post, the actual post, you're gonna see all the passes that are enabled: emission, diffuse light, diffuse color, glossy light and color, environment, volume, bloom, and shadow. So even the bloom, isn't that nice? Okay, I'm not going to have a bloom.
Have in real time, just separately.
Real bloom. So yeah, this is just the beginning, though. The idea in the future is that it should support like maybe Cryptomatte, shader AOBs, vector, object IDs, material. It could be anything really. But for now, is to put it on up to the level where Cycles is. So yeah. Do you have a favorite? Do you prefer Cycles, EEVEE? I guess it's more EEVEE.
I mean, for me, the workflow is mostly rendering in Cycles and working in EEVEE.
Ah.
So I set it up for both mostly.
For both.
Because, yeah, I mean, one thing that's missing for me in EEVEE is the micro displacement thing. Just having displacement in the shader.
Ah, yeah, it's true.
But that, I think it was not mentioned on the conference that it might come in the future.
In the future, I think we need like maybe Vulkan support for like future stuff, future features. So okay, what else? The Cycles got improvements when rendering when using EEVEE as default for CPU ray tracing. There is a number of steps taken for that, but the future is very promising. The present is very promising actually, because the optimizations are insane. For example, the optimization, the results here are not only better like better times for rendering, but also better You could do things that you couldn't do before. So you can have different interpolations in the way you do motion blur in this case. For example, this is quaternion interpolation with EEVEE. This is linear interpolation in case you don't want the circular, which is faster usually to render. And then the typical cycles BBH1. There are many reports that about this issue of quickly spinning objects that have weird motion blur. Hope that fixes it. And another improvement regarding memory, which is by using instead of using Blender's internal thingy for curves, now we have EEVEE thingy, Catmull ROM splines. Basically what it means is less memory hungry when you're rendering, so you can fit more things in your scene. Yay.
That's huge.
That is huge, actually. Compared to Cycles Native, is like 1 gig difference. And compared to the previous version of EEVEE, is 400 megabytes. So super nice improvement in Cycles. I didn't want to talk more about it because I wanted to first ask like Brecht on what's the deal? This looks like a major thing. And there are improvements here that mark even like faster everything. For example, here in this test that Brecht ran, hair is so much faster, 27% like faster on CPU on Coro, which is just a bunch of hair. This is so exciting.
Sometimes huge improvements just get brushed off. Yeah, it's 30% faster.
Oh yeah, by the way, just made it higher 30% faster. Yeah, so super exciting about this, that Blender is switching to EEVEE VVH as much as possible. I think 283 might be, we should call it like the performance release or something, because it's getting
so many improvements.
So many.
Always on the weekly we see, this got 20% faster, and
and then just
exactly,
just faster now. So an improvement regarding the sculpt section. The sculpt section this week is a bit more modest. There is this one improvement that was actually made last month, but now made it into master. Is an improvement for the pinch tool. Do you do a lot of sculpting yourself?
Not as much as I would like.
Oh.
I got into a little bit and liked it a lot, but now I got stuck on nodes, kind of. So.
Well, then you need to for everything nodes. Maybe you can make your brushes with nodes, and then that will be.
Hopefully.
And then you get fun with that. Interesting. All right. So this fix is on the pinch brush to pinch only in the direction perpendicular to the stroke. Basically, let's look at the pictures, which always makes it easier to understand. So this is this bad, and now basically this good. So you can see now that it works much better in the way it handles diagonal lines. So by pinching this way, we can fix some artifacts when sculpting following the topology direction. It does not make much difference with retopo or remeasure, but I think this should improve the quality of the brush when using multi-res, says Pablo Vazquez. Which, by the way, he has a blog post coming up on the code blog, the same place where we had the grease pencil refactor. There will be a new blog post tomorrow with an update on all the sculpt improvements since last year, because the last blog post was by Paulo was in June, last year. So it's time for an update.
There's
Super
been
nice.
a lot in the meantime about that.
Yes, yeah. So tomorrow is going to be a new blog post. I'm going to make a video about it. So make sure if you're subscribed to this channel to get the update. What else? All right, so optimizations. I'm actually running out of time. So, okay, let's go optimizations. Is there worth mentioning this one, for example, by Charlie Jolly, made it. So, but I shared this one because it's a nice Twitter story, Twitter love story. So basically, Bartek tweeted about how if you use color ramps, it's maybe you're like wasting one EEVEE texture in your memory, or it's not as efficient, and you don't have a lot of freedom. So instead of using this, you can use a new map range. So this was like the thing. It was like, okay, this is equivalent to this, and it's much better, and it's green, it's biologic, it's a full dynamic, better performance, precision, blah blah blah. good. Actually, it's true. It was very popular.
It was
It
true.
is true.
It was true.
It currently is true.
Yeah.
However, the developer of EEVEE just showed up and like, hey, I mean, cache actually for EEVEE, if you only use 2 linear color stops, so instead of is, you use linear, you used, let's speak in the past. Yeah, you still have a, I mean, it's still not as good, but it should actually, all the color ramps and curves are packed into one array texture, which only use one sampler. So it's actually not too bad to use it. However, this discussion here, it was like, hey, thank you for the explanation. And it's, maybe the other kind of interpolation could be fixed. Yeah, maybe worth a quick patch. And then it's like, do you know someone who might tackle it? And it's like, you guys. No, okay, challenge accepted. He went ahead and from the discussion, this patch came out. And basically now this patch came out and it has been committed. So nice, like a little story on Twitter ended up in a feature.
So you can actually use a color ramp node, which is more intuitive to use without having to deal with the consequences of
losing. I think that's a fear, right? When you're dealing with the EEVEE, it's like, oh, I'm running into the limit or not. All right, so more performance speed ups, and I'm gonna run out of time. One is by Jack Luke. He sped up the mask modifier so much that it went from, in his test on his laptop, it went from 1.1 frames per second. This is a file with a lot of mask modifiers, like not really a real life case, but yes. And I went to like 5 times faster, 5 FPS. So
it's crazy.
Super, super nice. Thank you, Jack. You can get the files here, the test files. And last, but not even last, actually. Another improvement.
So many improvements.
Many improvements. Yes, I just was going through the list. I didn't really prepare it, but it's all improvements. This one. Now the show cache option is not going to make the video sequence editor so slow as it used to be. Now they uses some GPU batch drawing magic under the hood, and it makes it an improvement. And now the sequencer should be faster when using show cache option on. What else? More improvements. This is a fix that was done by was actually published here as a bug report and is now fixed by Clément, which basically fixes these artifacts. I don't know if you guys get to see it, but you can, these artifacts were this like dented. Some texture, if they're too high resolution, like it was like dented. It looked weird. So now that's no longer the case. And the comparison was like, hey, it didn't happen in 2.7. I mean, it's a completely different OpenGL, different, but it's good to compare it with how it used to work. Optimized, done, and okay. Last but not least, now your Blender files from 2.25 can be open.
Oh boy.
Yes. So there is a fix. Apparently, there was a crash if you load a file that it was from 2001 or 2, like 18 years ago. Now they should work. And that's it. I could continue talking and mentioning fixes, but let's go to the questions. So yes, let's see if we make it in time. How are you? So good?
Yeah.
You got tired already?
No, I'm enjoying it.
It's the standing part.
It's nice to actually get all these news.
All this news all together in one go. Yeah. I'm thinking about making like a short version of this live stream just with the new stuff.
Just throwing out the new.
Yeah, but it will still be like 10 minutes or so.
Yeah,
that's the thing.
There's just too many new features, improvements.
Yeah, it might end up.
On.
I mean, it's nicer, I guess, for someone to not see 1 hour long videos. But actually, if you really just want the news, you can watch the first half of this episode, or in this case, the first 45 minutes. All right, cool.
Or read about it.
It's
also possible.
Yes. All right, so first question. Hi, Paulo. I want to ask, when will camera tracking and solving be improved? And what's the possibility of adding camera matching like F-Spy or SketchUp? Camera matching, there were add-ons around there. Around, like, I don't remember the current name. But it was an add-on that was going on. Camera tracking and solving. I haven't seen any news regarding that, unfortunately.
Me neither.
So I wouldn't I don't know. I need to ask Sergey. But Sergey's super busy currently with the devs graph and code signing even. Penguin Burger. No, that's evil. Love seeing you every week. Thank you. A few months ago, I bugged you a lot about baking being added back to Blender, especially ambient occlusion baking to vertex colors. Any news on that? No. So the dev says something like this will be relatively easy to do, but I haven't heard anything back. No. I haven't heard anything from this, actually. If we had Dalai, maybe we could ask, but I haven't heard anything. And what dev said that it would be relatively easy to do? Because every time I mention baking in EEVEE, it's like, oh, we need Vulkan or we need this and that, because apparently it's not as easy currently.
Yeah, it's a completely different thing, right?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Another question: mirror editing options don't work for all the tools like extrude, bevel, etc. But for armatures, it does work. This is a standard in other applications. Is there a reason why Blender is different? It's just that it was added. It wasn't added, basically. The mirror editing options, they got improved in 2.81. Now that we can mirror in different axes other than just the x-axis like it used to be. But I think the tools need to be updated for that to work. But still, I think they should work. Like mirror editing options. Like, for example, if I extrude here, no, it doesn't work. Interesting. But it works for moving, for transforming, but not for for editing. So yeah, in that case, you would have to use a modifier. Captain Solo says, would it be possible to add a cavity overlay or from the shaded viewport to EEVEE as well? It's blazingly fast overlay for cavities and edges. It could solve like the pointiness kind of an issue. Something in EEVEE is really missing. Of course, it would be even better as an actual node in the editor. What can you say about it? Maybe you can say, oh, you just need 30 nodes and you can have it.
Yeah, things like that aren't that easy, unfortunately, with doing it just with nodes. I don't know about, because it's a screen space thing with the Workbench engine, right?
Yeah.
I'm not a developer, so I have no idea, but I think it might be possible.
With just the ambient occlusion and some nodes?
I think I meant just porting the Workbench cavity things into EEVEE. I'm not sure.
I mean, the Workbench is kind of like EEVEE, but with different settings, basically. Kind of, not really, but. Next question. Hello, Paulo. Do you know what happened to the themes from the theme contest? They are going to be updated and added to Blender 2.83. That's one of the goals we want to we have with Willem, is that the themes make it. But the thing is that we keep getting new features like the gradients, so they need to be updated over time. Next questions. If I want to ask a new feature or tool in Blender, where is the best place to ask? Do you know what is the best place to ask?
I'm putting me on the spot here.
Yeah,
in the community.
Right-click select, yay! Actually, if you Google for Blender features, I think you get to where to ask a new feature. It's in the Blender feature request. In the wiki, we have a page where we mention it, actually, and basically it's pointing to the right-click select, to the community. So right-click select. .com, it's a website. If you type it correctly, you can actually visit a community that is inside of the where we are looking at the questions right now on Blender.Today, and there you can submit your own proposals, edit them, discuss with the community, and it's a good starting point to discuss if a feature has been even implemented already or is work in progress, because some features, I mean, maybe some people from the community are just joining. Here's like starting with Blender last month, and hey, why don't we have, I don't know, a feature that was always, proposed, like drag and drop on modifiers, and that is drag and drop tabs, for example. Yeah, this is already a question that has been a proposal that has been added 1,000 times.
Yeah, if you want to have a successful proposal, you should do the
the research before.
Yeah, exactly. Put in the work before.
Yeah, but it's a good starting point to get the community involved, and maybe some developers will maybe like some developers that wants to start developing for Blender can have a look in there. Next question. So, hello, question here. How does EEVEE work? Is it dependent on the CPU or the GPU? Because my PC can handle games with very good graphics, but EEVEE is barely live on some scenes sometimes. And also, is the principal hair shader coming to EEVEE anytime soon? And that I don't know, this part.
I'm not sure.
But the EEVEE depends on your GPU, mainly, like for pretty much everything. The thing is, when you play video games, most of the things are faked and baked. So what you see is not the real shadows all the time, completely dynamics, unlike in Blender. In Blender, everything you see is dynamic, it's real time, for real. When a video game, things get baked, shadows get baked, and you only compute certain parts, and also everything is very limited, and like the animations that you see, they are pre-animated, they are keyframed. In Blender, you have access to the bones where you can change the animation, so you can't really cache that. You can, but then you have to clear the cache. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's hard. It's not fair to compare a full real-time editing like environment like EEVEE with a pre-baked, pre-cache, pre-compiled shaders, everything from a video game. Next. Hello, Pablo. Love the show. Thank you. I find it valuable for staying up to date. Thank you very much. I have a request. A few weeks ago, I heard you read the list of priority fixes and features for 2020. To my surprise, motion blur for EEVEE wasn't on that list. My request is to ask you to lobby for EEVEE motion blur, object, and deformation to be added to the 2020 priority list. I also heard you mention developer of EEVEE, Clement. Yes, was working on something, but wasn't really making it a priority. Actually, there was Jeroen Bakker. He finished the render passes for EEVEE. And yeah, there were discussions going on how to implement motion blur, deformation motion blur, but it's not easy. It would be like a few months of a developer, maybe 2 months. I don't know. It's a big thing, but also a big development.
It's tricky.
However, for the time being, you can use cycles vector and use vector blur from the compositor. Not nice, I know, but it's something. And there are a few add-ons that fake the motion blur, basically render 5 frames before and after, and then just comp them. You can look up for that for the time being. But yes, so yeah. I think that was a question. No, yes, it's just more of the questions, I think. Yes. Any plans for big fat lens flares in EEVEE so there will be no need in post-processing whatsoever?
That sounds nice.
Yeah? Would you use it, or you just make your own lens flare with a bunch of nodes anyway?
Actually, I looked into that.
Really?
Using a bunch of drivers that basically ray trace. And so the lens flares go away if you have the light source behind an object. Stuff like that would be really cool.
Like actual occlusion.
Yeah.
Yeah. But still, it has to be real, right? It can't be screen space because, I don't know.
I was using drivers that shot rays between the camera, and it was just a proof of concept.
It's
didn't develop into much.
Okay, yeah.
It was a lot of work, so.
It probably was, because I guess, yeah, if you use the screen space, when the thing is off screen, the lens flare is no longer there, but the object position change, like, you have to get the real object position, I guess. Or
to get real lens flares, it would be really complicated, because sometimes when the light source is outside of the camera view, you still have the reflections in the lens of the camera, obviously.
Yeah.
Which makes it a lot more tricky.
Yeah. So I don't.
Cool.
Yeah, sounds cool, but I haven't heard any plans for that yet. Frostcrack Studio. Hey, Pablo, I hope you have a great day. Hope you too. Any news for the Blender Assets Manager? Yes, there has been an update here on the Asset Manager. There is some. we had a few meetings last week with Willem, I already mentioned, and it helped to like get exactly what is the scope of the asset manager, like how far do we want to take it. I think for the basics, you don't need a full-fledged asset manager at the beginning, but at least something to browse your I don't know, current assets or the ones you want to link in, or maybe at the beginning only append just to remove all the overhead, and then in another release add linking or asset manager. That's all the news, but yeah, you should check on the project itself. All right, so more questions. I think we managed to answer a few. Huh? I think we're doing pretty well. I feel like there's no attention from developers to community channels about features request, aka, also known as right-click select. It looks like there is no moderation or someone to moderate all the propositions. For example, proposal to remove doubles modifier is not checked as done as many others. Removing duplicates, answering what is possible and what not. Right now, it looks like a little bit of a mess with hundreds of propositions with 1 or 3 points. Maybe making something similar like the code quest, but for top 50 ideas from right-click select. I think the best will be to splitting top requests in 2 categories, big and small features. Yeah, for right-click select, there is a number of levels of, one is you need people to maintain. You need like some kind of moderators, and not only just one person, but actually more people that can be, this crowdfunded or so. Also, you need a way to like kind of report a post. That way you can, for example, say, hey, this has duplicated. Maybe we also need a feature to merge proposals, and that way you can merge one with the other. Those are features that the system underneath doesn't have yet, and they are planned for the future, but yeah, it needs a mix of development in the software, but also like a community work. So yes, we're listening to your requests, and yeah, the categories idea is actually pretty neat. We should look into this, definitely. Yeah. Thank you. There is a meta, by the way. There is a meta section in right-click select where you can report, or not report, but like make proposals about the website itself. Next question. Hi, Pablo. Thanks for the live stream. Do you have any idea of the date of merging for the Grease Pencil Refactor patch? I'm currently using it, and it will be great to take advantage of all the new features. Cheers from Paris. No date per se, but it should be this week. It shouldn't be more than that. I can't say for sure because it depends on how busy developers are. We still have the Blender developer curfew, the tracker curfew, where you can see the amount of work that is being done on keeping the reports down. Actually, it's been going up a little bit lately. After the release, after a release, you have people report things again, but the idea is to get it again down there. Next. How about an add-on channel here on Blender community? Yes, we're actually working on that. We are working on many things for this website. There will be, you don't need to know, but basically the system underneath Blender community, we made it together with Francesco. It's using the Blender Cloud under the hood. This system is 5 years old, and we are working on the 4th iteration, which should come out within a few months, maybe 1 or 2 months. And for that, we actually have a lot more features. We want to make it a bit more basic in one way, but also more powerful into having dedicated settings for each community. In this case, the add-on channels. Are you an add-on freak? Do you use a lot of add-ons?
I try to make everything without them as long as I can. Yeah. Because I don't like to have to reinstall every add-on that I'm using when I'm moving to another system. Yeah. But sometimes you don't really. I mean, some of the add-ons are just too good to not use them. So.
Yeah, or like some of them, like the Node Wrangler, for example.
Yeah,
you can't live without Node Wrangler.
That's the first thing I always check.
Same. Next question: can you make Blender's own in-built-in character creator? character creator. That sounds like an add-on, I think, because what is a character, right? Anything, a cube. This can be a character, a great character. So you have Rigify if you want auto rigging features, but character creator is a bit too broad. So okay, it's actually 6 p.m., but I started a bit late. Sorry, this new moving thing. So I'm gonna answer 5 more questions. Are you okay? Do you wanna leave already? You wanna run?
Sure.
Okay, you wanna hang out? Okay. So I should start from the bottom because that's the questions that actually got before. Unless also if you have any questions for nodes for the node guru here, I should do them in the meantime in the live stream. So this question by Gary says, when pressing the tilde key for the pop-up wheel for views, what are the numbers for? They don't match the shortcut keys. The numbers are for the numbers in the pie menus are gonna show for any pie menu. You see here, for example, 8, 6, 2, and 4. They are automatically assigned. So you can do, for example, in this case, I do the pie menu for like tilde, and then I can press 6. And then tilde, and then you press 4, it's gonna go left, 8. It doesn't have anything to do with this pie menu in particular. It's available, it's a feature that is available on any pie menu. As you can see, rendered, solid, material, they all have their own their number outsigned. It's the same way that Blender highlights the letters on the first letter on the menus. All right, so next, enable masking feature to edit object mode and add Python of that. It's a very long question. Trying to find the question mark. Where is it?
I don't see one.
Sorry, I'm gonna escape. I'm trying to fit in as many as possible. Next question. Will it be possible to set up sticky keys for actions anytime soon, especially snapping on, off, edit, pivot, point, again and again? It's driving me nuts. What about some kind of warning shortcut collision? Yes, actually I so want this. It should tell you that there's another shortcut using it. Sticky keys, I'm not sure. There's been some kind of love-hate story behind it last time it was implemented. But yeah, the shortcut collision was definitely a thing that needs to be added. The whole thing, the whole keymap editing should be remade. Next question, Pascal, can we have this feature added? Okay, that's dangerous. Let's see, open. What is it here? Open link in new tab. What is it? Maya style for switching, edit object, edit an object. What is this? It's a pie menu. And you move things. Pie menu that you can just hover over an object and quickly switching between the modes and components. This is much faster than what's provided in the default Blender. Oh, for switching with modes. Yeah, I think there is an add-on that has that. Well, the heavy poly has that one, but I think there are plenty of add-ons that do that thing for changing between modes. Hey, Pablo, is there any way to create lighting effects or electric effects in Blender? Yes, you did it with your...
For example, yeah. You can do it in a shader, for example.
In a shader? I think there are tutorials online. Definitely. Even Andy has some tutorials on the cloud on how to make lining, I think. Like or not. Making lightning bolts. Actually, yeah, for Llama Drama. Andy made it. Grandi Llama. The second episode of Caminandes. This is still applicable today, I think. Like the way you would do it is still applicable. So the way you do like this kind of shape, and now with EEVEE it's even better with the blue.
Real time.
Yes. All right. So I think I already answered like 3. So okay, 2 more. Oh no, with images. Hi Paulo. Every day I discover something new. Last week I learned NLA. Oops. Now you're in for a treat. NLA. Don't try it in older Blender versions. It was really broken, especially 2.7. So 2 questions. What is the reason for having Dope Sheet and Action Editor as separate modes? Why isn't... Okay, so the first question. Why What is the reason? Well, the dope sheet shows every object, everything in your scene, whereas the action editor shows only one action at a time. So you could have, so you can always make sure that you're seeing one action of one object. While the dope sheet, you can see multiple objects at the same time. For example, the camera animation with the node setup animation of anything. So that's a reason why. Why isn't OpenGL supported on GPU in cycles? It just hasn't. I don't know the technical reasons behind it, but it's just not supported. It's not available. But I don't know exactly the limitations, so I couldn't say. And the last question is it? Hi, Paulo. Thank you for the slideshow. A UI question. Can there be any option to reload a proxy within the view layer? Right now, to reload an object, we have to go and find a source in the Blender file and not stay in the same place in the outliner. Or is it planned with the asset manager? It should tackle that case. So yes, asset manager is one answer. But then, yeah, to reload a proxy within the view layer, unfortunately, I will just use the right click. When you have linked data, you can do reload. When it's linked, you're gonna see the reload option there. But that's so far as the way to do it, unfortunately. All right. I think
a lot of questions.
That was a lot of questions, a lot of talking. It's been 1 hour of talking non-stop. So let's share your work. So what is your Simon?
It's just my name, Simon Thomas THO.
Thomas. I knew you had two M's somewhere. So just wanted to share. Thank you for coming. I'm not following you because I'm not logged in. Actually, I'm just saying. But
it's all right.
But yeah, you can see some work of crazy work also on your website, simonthoms.com. Free stuff. What is free stuff? Ooh, procedural bricks, textures, scales, and clothes even. Neat.
Yeah, that's the microdisplacement placement I was talking about.
That you can't
using in cycles.
That we can't have on this also again micro displacement.
Yeah, pretty much all of this except for the flames.
Wow! Also this.
That's procedural, yeah.
This bricks.
Mm-hmm.
That's insane. Okay.
Thanks.
Wow. Super. Oh, awesome. We need to print one of those. I want to have a brick wall here in the back. Amazing. Go visit Simon's website. I'm going to share it here in the chat so people can.
Thanks for the shout out.
No, please. It's nice to share good artwork, and you share stuff on the cloud. So keep it going. All right. So time to leave. Oops. Here. Cool. Sorry. Next time, I'm gonna ask how tall is the visitor so I can adjust the camera. But if I leave myself too much room, then I'm gonna look super.
Yeah, it's difficult. You have to tilt the camera a bit.
That's a complex that we have as short people in this country. In other countries, I'm not so short. I swear, especially in Latin America. Here is another story.
I thought I was taller until I moved to the Netherlands.
And everybody feels tiny. Yeah. All right. So, thank you once again for dropping by, for hanging out here.
Thanks for having me. Thanks for having me on.
Please, maybe we should do it a bit more official next time and do a dedicated welcome episode, or just play for an hour with notes and do stuff. I don't know, live stream, some cloud live stream. I don't know. We have a new setup here dedicated and where nobody comes to bother. And I couldn't even hear it. It's actually good sound proof. I don't know. I'm going to listen to this tomorrow with the headphones to see how it goes. All right. So thank you again. Thank you for staying until the end. It's been a pleasure. Another week. Next week, we are entering March. So yeah, we're actually going to be in the 2nd of March, which means after next week, there will be only 10 more days to add whatever is new in 2.83 and then work in stabilizing those features while making the 2.84 branch. But that is 10 days after next week's episode. I'm just hyping it a bit too much right now.
Already in the future.
Already in the future. Yeah, 2.83. That's old news. Like in the blog post from Grease Pencil, where before 2.82 was out, it would say old 2.82. And yes,
it's crazy how fast it all moves.
It's just speed, life. Anyway, and even like, Blender versions numbers are not going to be a thing anymore. Eventually, at some point, I think, in life. It should just be always the latest. And maybe some safe playground with a feature, with a number.
Yeah, it's interesting to hear the studio always use the absolutely latest version.
I know, they don't even, probably some not even know which version we're using, because the splash screen is the same, just a number on the corner. So yeah. Anyway, so please, let's do it again next week. Same place, same time. You're welcome to join. I hang out here every Monday at 5 p.m. around-ish, more or less. All right, so we'll leave with some style here. I don't know if you're aware of the
soundboard.
The soundboard. I have a soundboard, by the way. Yes, which is not the physical, but yes. So in around 5 seconds, I'm gonna put some music you're gonna dance to, and otherwise gonna try again next week. Same place, same time. Blender Today, number 93 next week. All right. 5, 4, 3, 2. That was loud, I think. Even on these headphones. Yeah, on these headphones. So okay. Again, see you again next week. Same place and time. Ciao.